Lando Norris believes he's ready to challenge Max in 2025. Max Verstappen's GOAT claims have come under scrutiny, and Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari could be worth over $1 billion. Do consider subscribing. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Williams has officially announced that Carlos Sainz will be joining their team for postseason testing in Abu Dhabi this coming December. This means that Sainz, who is currently under contract with Ferrari until the end of the 2024 season, will be stepping into a Williams car for the first time after finishing the year driving for Ferrari. After the final race of the championship, Sainz will leave the Ferrari garage and move across the pit lane to Williams, participating in the testing that will take place at the Yas Marina circuit, which serves as the last opportunity for on-track activity in the 2024 Formula One season. This type of arrangement is not new in the world of Formula One. There have been instances in the past where drivers were allowed to participate in testing for their new teams before their official switch took place. For example, in 2018, Kimi Räikkönen was permitted by Ferrari to take part in postseason testing with Alfa Romeo after announcing his departure from the Scuderia. Similarly, Fernando Alonso had the chance to test with Aston Martin in December 2022, even though he was transitioning from a different team. At the Abu Dhabi postseason test, there will be a blend of young drivers who will get the opportunity to try out the latest Formula One cars, while the current drivers will also be testing tires supplied by Pirelli, the official tire supplier for the sport. Williams shared on their official website that this early opportunity is significant for both Carlos Sainz and the team, as it will allow them to start building a strong working relationship before the next racing season begins. The test session scheduled at the Yas Marina circuit will provide a valuable chance for Sainz, the Spanish driver, to start acclimating to his new team environment while experiencing the FW46 car for the very first time. Carlos Sainz recently signed a long-term contract with Williams after extensive talks with various teams in the paddock, especially after the announcement that Lewis Hamilton would be joining Ferrari starting in 2025. However, it is important to note that Hamilton will not be conducting any early testing activities for Ferrari during the upcoming postseason sessions in Abu Dhabi. Instead, sources from PlanetF1.com have reported that the 7-time world champion and the Mercedes team will be focusing on pre-planned farewell events as Hamilton wraps up a remarkable 12-season career with the Silver Arrows. Next season, Sainz will team up with Alex Albon at Williams, and the team has expressed confidence that this combination of drivers will create one of the most formidable lineups on the grid, setting high expectations for the upcoming season. Former F1 driver Martin Donnelly believes Lewis Hamilton heading to Ferrari could bring as much as $1 billion to the Scuderia in merchandising. The former Arrows and Lotus driver warned, however, that having Charles Leclerc on the other side of the garage will be no easy task for the 7-time world champion to navigate next season. Hamilton set the F1 2025 driver market into motion in dramatic fashion in February, when it was announced he would be a Ferrari driver from next season, ending his 12-season association with Mercedes in the process. In having the sport's most statistically successful driver at its most storied team, Donnelly predicts Ferrari could make a huge sum of money from the move, alongside the move of a driver of Hamilton's stature being good for the sport as a whole. "It's a great move for Ferrari," Donnelly told Racing News 365. "You bring in over £1 billion in merchandising for the company. Few people realize how much money they make from merchandise. It's also good for the sport." With Leclerc having long been established at Ferrari, moving up through the junior ranks before earning a seat at the Scuderia in only his second season in Formula One, the Monegasque driver was rewarded with the longest contract ever handed to a Ferrari driver when he signed a 5-year extension back in 2019, owing to his performances alongside Sebastian Vettel at the time. He has since signed another deal for the next several seasons to come. And given Leclerc was signed to stay at the Scuderia over Carlos Sainz, with both drivers initially having had their contracts expire in the same year, it was a show of faith from Ferrari in his abilities. Given his form this season too, Leclerc sitting third in the driver's standings with 3 wins to his name this year and 9 further podiums, Donnelly predicts Hamilton will be facing a tough challenge when he faces his new teammate next year. "I don't think he will walk into Leclerc's backyard and just nick his football," Donnelly said. "It's not going to be that easy, but it's good for the sport, it's good for the Tifosi who have someone else to cheer for. Also for Lewis, especially after the 3 years with porpoising. At Interlagos, they were still suffering from that problem. I don't think Leclerc will be easy to beat. He is fast. I would say on his day he is as fast as Lewis. Hopefully for them we will see them at the front in terms of points in the Constructors' Championship, along with Red Bull. In a time of recent high-profile exits, the FIA has started to announce new arrivals to the organization. And the first arrival is Lee Fedden, who becomes the FIA's new digital director, effective as of November 18th. The FIA recently confirmed the shock exit of F1 race director Niels Vidich, who had served in the role since Michael Massi's exit after the 2021 season, while that was followed with compliance officer Paolo Basari allegedly being dismissed by FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Fedden is no stranger to the world of Formula One, having most recently served as the data and analytics chief at the Williams team. Reacting to the new role, Fedden said, "I am thrilled to join the FIA at such an exciting time. I look forward to leveraging my experience in digital transformation to enhance our digital capabilities and support the FIA's mission." Ben Sulayem added, "We are delighted that someone of Lee's renowned expertise is joining the organization to oversee the transformation of our IT operations. Lee brings a wealth of experience to the role of streamlining our digital and information systems and driving engagement with our stakeholders, particularly our member clubs." Following the departure of Vidich, the FIA named Rui Marques as the new Formula One race director, having most recently held that role in Formula 2 and Formula 3, the highest-ranked categories on the junior ladder to Formula One. The FIA can confirm that Niels Vidich has stepped down from his position as F1 race director to pursue new opportunities, a statement read. Niels has fulfilled his numerous responsibilities as race director with professionalism and dedication. We thank him for his commitment, and we wish him the best for the future. Rui Marques will assume the role of race director from the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Rui brings a wealth of experience, having previously served as track marshal, scrutineer, national and international steward, deputy race director, and race director in various championships. Most recently, he held the position of Formula 2 and Formula 3 race director. However, whether Vidich stepped down or was pushed out of the FIA has been the subject of media speculation. Lando Norris will now believe he has what it takes to defeat Max Verstappen, but must capitalize on the opportunity to start F1 2025 strong to have a chance. That is the claim made by FIA steward Johnny Herbert, who has tipped Norris to bounce back next season after his F1 2024 title hopes effectively came to an end in Brazil. Initially, the odds were in Norris's favor at the Brazilian Grand Prix with Verstappen P17 on the grid, but the Dutchman would deliver an iconic performance to win the race and stretch his lead over Norris to 62 points with 3 rounds of the season to go. After Verstappen's dominant start to the season, McLaren and Norris emerged as a threat to his pursuit of a 4th successive title, but if Norris can ensure that Verstappen does not get another head start in F1 2025, Herbert reckons it could be game on. Lando has had to play catch-up, and that is very difficult to do, Herbert told safest betting sites. He has been chipping away at Max's lead, but the points lead now means the title is out of reach, unless Max has a dreadful run of bad luck, which won't happen. Lando has to take the positives of what has happened this year. He has driven so well, got poles, and improved massively. He has a great chance of starting next year very strongly, and if he can capitalize on that as Max did this year, then who knows what could happen. He will keep on learning. We haven't seen the best of Lando yet, nor, for that matter, Max. McLaren will learn for next year and have a stronger mindset. Lando will go into 2025 knowing he can beat Max. There are others too, such as Oscar Piastri and George Russell, who are only going to get stronger. In the opinion of ex-F1 team boss Eddie Jordan, Norris has been too nice in F1 2024 and did not inflict maximum damage on Verstappen's championship lead when he had the chance in a superior McLaren. Lando Norris has been brought up by an amazing, lovely, beautiful, caring family. And is there an argument to say that he's too nice? Yes, possibly, said Jordan on a recent episode of the Formula for Success podcast. The fact is that Lando Norris will go down in the history books as being one of the most incredibly fastest drivers, possibly, not to have won a world championship. And the reason being, he should have been out of sight on several races this year where there is not a chance Max had the car that he had. Jordan's podcast co-star, 13-time race winner David Coulthard, expressed his belief in Norris, who he feels just has one final step forward to make in on-track combat. Coulthard responded to Jordan, "I know you weren't saying he'll never be a world champion, but you're throwing out there that he might not have all the ingredients to win a world championship, going toe-to-toe with the likes of a Max. But I actually take the view that McLaren entered this year as part of their rebuilding, working their way towards challenging for world championships. and it came as a bit of a surprise to them when they were in that position. And it's taken them a little while to adapt and really believe that they can win the Constructors' Championship and could win the Drivers' Championship. I think they are almost there in their mind, where they've got that attacking mentality that I believe that they've had in the past, and they're certainly getting there now. But I think maybe Lando is the same. He's still maturing into this complete Grand Prix driver. He's got all the speed. We love how open he is. Everything is there. I think that he's still maturing into that person, and I believe in Lando. But at a certain point, he's got to go. Max, you think I'm going to leave the door open and you can send the car? Well, actually, the door's closed, and if we crash, we crash. It almost needs to be one of those situations because you race different drivers in a different way. I think Lando is just that one step away from fully understanding how to race his competitors. 1997 world champion Jacques Villeneuve has taken issue with Jeremy Clarkson, declaring Max Verstappen potentially the greatest F1 driver ever. In the opinion of Villeneuve, to declare Verstappen or any driver the best of all time in Formula One is a flawed statement. Writing in his column for The Sun newspaper, Clarkson, best known for his appearances on Top Gear, the Grand Tour, and Clarkson's Farm, had said that Verstappen may even be the greatest driver we've ever seen. That comment did not go down well with Villeneuve, who thinks the F1 eras and the greats that emerged in them cannot be compared. How can Jeremy Clarkson say Max Verstappen is the greatest of all time? Villeneuve said in conversation with Grosvenor Sport. He had a great season when he beat Lewis Hamilton for his first championship. Then he's had the same way that Lewis won his first one. Then he's had easy ones, the same way Lewis had easy ones. And this year he's been fighting back. So this year has been a great year. You cannot compare the era of Fangio to now. They are different eras. So you cannot say any of them is the greatest of all time. The sport has changed too much. Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher hold the joint record for most world championship triumphs in Formula One with 7, as Verstappen closes in on his 4th consecutive title in F1 2024. And with Verstappen still only 27 years of age, Villeneuve believes the Dutchman can also become a 7-time world champion. Max Verstappen definitely has what it takes to match Schumacher's titles, Villeneuve declared. Max is still hungry and competitive and always goes for the win. He doesn't get brought down. With the right situation, he will always be there to win a championship. The same way that Alonso could have had 7 championships. Look how often he got close with Ferrari. Take Schumacher, he could have had 3 instead of 7, but he could have had even more. Sometimes it's close and there's a few drivers out there that don't have the amount of championships that they probably deserved with their talent. Max has won every championship that he could have won. He hasn't missed one so far. Verstappen leads the F1 2024 Drivers' Championship by 62 points over Lando Norris with 3 rounds of the season left to go. Franco Colapinto implied that the departing Zhou Guanyu is the worst driver on the Formula One grid in his opinion. As it stands, both of these drivers are without a place on the F1 2025 grid, but find themselves in very different circumstances. After 3 seasons in Formula One with Sauber, Zhou will depart at the end of F1 2024, along with teammate Valtteri Bottas, 10 times a race winner in F1, with the team opting for Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto as their new lineup ahead of their transition to becoming the Audi Works team from F1 2026. Colapinto, meanwhile, is bidding to find his way onto the F1 2025 grid after turning heads at Williams since replacing Logan Sargent mid-season. The Argentine has been linked with a potential move to VCarb or the main Red Bull team, with Carlos Sainz already signed to Williams for F1 2025 and beyond to partner Alex Albon. Alpine, meanwhile, has also been mooted as a possible destination. Colapinto has proven himself not shy in front of the cameras, and when speaking in an interview with his sponsor Quilmes, Zhou found out, having taken the F1's worst driver tag hit. "I don't care who I have next to me as a teammate, whether it's Verstappen or Zhou, I want to beat them and be ahead of them," he said. Colapinto's manager, Maria Caterino, of Bullet Sports Management, recently addressed the speculation over the 21-year-old's F1 2025 chances, confirming that no deal has been struck, but Williams are pushing hard to find their academy graduate an opportunity. "What is certain is that right now we are with Williams and we are still with Williams," Caterino told Campeones TV. "It's no secret, as you have seen, that there is a very big will for Franco to continue in F1 in 2025. It's a subject that is no secret, and we are working on it, obviously. I want to deny the rumors that there is something signed for next year. We are currently still with Williams at the moment. I want to say that Williams is the first one who is looking for the best option for Franco. It's a great team and we feel like a family. Williams' results are improving. I know that their intention is to look for the best deal for Franco for the future. Williams are the first ones to know that Franco deserves to stay in F1, and they are trying to make it happen. But nothing has been signed, and I can't confirm anything. We would love to stay at Williams, but they already have their contracts, so they are looking for the best structure to keep Franco in F1 in the best way for both Franco and Williams. But at the moment, it doesn't look like a possibility to continue with Williams in 2025. Few sporting events come close to matching the excitement of qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix. It is the ultimate test of a Formula One driver, navigating the twisty streets of Monte Carlo, particularly in these current oversized cars, knowing the slightest brush with the barrier is likely to end in disaster. However, Saturday afternoon is where the fun usually stops, as Sundays are a dull procession due to the lack of overtaking. The celebrated jewel in the F1 crown has undoubtedly lost some of its luster. The Monaco GP was also the race where the big money deals were done. Lucrative sponsorships brokered at the Café de Paris Monte Carlo or on board one of the opulent yachts, yet those handshakes are now done in Miami and Las Vegas, where F1 has catered for those opportunities. Rather like the F1 cars themselves on the narrow track, there is a feeling perhaps the series has outgrown the footprint of Monte Carlo. It all feels rather shoehorned into a tired space that was adequate before the supersized motorhomes, vastly inflated number of team members, and increase in spectators. The Principality is doing an impressive job at reclaiming land for expensive real estate, but the Automobile Club de Monaco is unwilling to make amendments to the circuit to accommodate the swollen championship. Rather like Monaco itself, space is of a premium when it comes to a spot on the F1 calendar. Currently limited to 24 races, competition for a place in the schedule is high, and accounts for why Stefano Domenicali says the championship is close to agreeing the concept of a band of rotating European races, mainly because the current fees for long-term deals are beyond the reach of most of the European promoters. Which is why handing Monaco such a lengthy deal goes against the grain of Liberty Media's running of F1, unless there is a substantial host fee to remain on the calendar. The Monaco deal, therefore, will represent a new benchmark figure to remain a permanent fixture on the calendar for the foreseeable future. Those who cannot afford to stump up for consecutive years can take the second-rate option of joining a rotating band of races. It makes sense for F1 and has worked in the past with varying degrees of success to host a European Grand Prix. Circuits such as Barcelona-Catalunya, which is set to lose the Spanish GP to Madrid in 2026, is likely a consideration for the project. As too are Hockenheim, the Nürburgring, Portimao, and Paul Ricard, which could also feature. The other name that could come into the frame is Spa-Francorchamps, which has a deal that expires next year. It is conceivable that upon seeing the Monaco GP extend its deal with F1, the host of the Belgian Grand Prix now knows what is required to achieve the same. And that is likely to be considerably more money than they had perhaps bargained for. Like it or loathe it, Monaco is sticking around every year until at least 2031. Whether Spa bosses are prepared to dig deep and do the same remains to be seen, but one thing is clear. The price of being a permanent fixture on the F1 calendar has now shot up. And that is bad news for European race promoters who have contracts with F1 that are nearing their expiry date. Thanks for watching. I'll see you around.